Okay, hello everyone. Hello, hello, hello. What's up, guys and gals? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Today is Tuesday, August 28th, 2018. I am Darkside Phil, and I welcome you to the first of two gameplay streams, a full streaming day we've got on the agenda here today, everybody. Okay. With a full streaming week ahead of us, right? So, hope you guys are excited for what's to come. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys can expect today. It's going to be an interesting day for sure. This stream in particular, something totally different, totally outside of anything that I normally would be playing. And I'm very curious to see how this goes, quite frankly. I don't know how it's going to go today. So what are we doing? Fire Pro Wrestling World. So if you guys are not aware, Fire Pro Wrestling is a very long-running, very highly respected professional wrestling gaming series. You know, if I remember correctly, it goes all the way back to the 90s. And this is a series that basically, it runs very much on simulation. And what I mean by that is, this is the series that if you want to create, you want to create some awesome custom wrestlers. You want to create something that, like, oh, I want to simulate this particular match that happened. That was an epic match from years ago, but I want to do it, with in-game mechanics and the like. Like, this was the game that you would do it in. Now, it's funny because I always used to do, I always do wrestling stuff, but I do it in the WWE franchise. For the 10 years that I've been a content creator, every year I get the WWE game for that year, and typically I do some simulation matches that are kind of fantasy matches. You get crazy, cartoonish creations and all kinds of shit. And a lot of times they're not very serious. They're very, very silly. In Fire Pro Wrestling, what people have done is basically created this yearly kind of, well, not really yearly, but this series, every time there's a new iteration of the game, what are the new things they can do? What kind of new matches does it have? By the way, this game has a lot of serious shit like death matches and barbed wire, all the stuff that WWE won't do because they're PG era. Fire Pro Wrestling does, okay? It's very much, mature rated, this franchise, all right? But it's all what you put into it. So, Fire Pro Wrestling, like I said, a long-standing series, but I've never dabbled in it. I've never touched it, never played it whatsoever. And then it was announced that this year the series is making a big return, and a lot of people earlier this year expressed interest in me checking it out. And I said, you know what? Why not? Something different, something refreshing. Even if it's something that ends up not being my cup of tea and I don't like it in the long run, I think it's still worth it to just check it out in the short term and see what this franchise is all about, okay? So let's see. Fire Pro Wrestling World. Now, from what I understand, this game is kind of a full-fledged game. It's got a story mode with a campaign, but it's also obviously got a very, very robust character creator. Has online play, has simulations, everything you would expect from a professional wrestling game. So I guess we're going to see what happens, okay? We're going to see what happens in regards to the game itself and, what content I can get out of it. I won't even know until I boot it up, really, right? More than likely, I'll check out the story mode first and try to learn the ins and outs of the game, because the thing is, I don't know anything about the combat of the game or the game engine. I played Final Fantasy. Wow, I played WWE for years, but I've never played this franchise. So it could be a completely different kind of control scheme and everything, compared to WWE. We'll find out. Okay, so let's see. Now the cool thing is, if Fire Pro Wrestling World ends up being better than WWE, this could be a game that I end up doing simulation matches. Instead of WWE, typically annually I do WWE fantasy Christmas stuff. What if instead I do Fire Pro Wrestling World, right? Could be pretty sweet. So let's see what happens. I don't know if the game has licensed music like WWE does. I'm hoping it doesn't, so that way I don't get into trouble with videos on YouTube. I guess we're going to find out as I boot it up, okay? So, should be interesting to see how this goes today. I don't know, 4 hours. Story mode, and maybe I'll dabble in other stuff depending on, what content the game has, and we'll go from there. And that will determine, later this week, what else I'm going to do. Because I do have another stream kind of scheduled for this game later this week. And obviously, if there's enough content and people are enjoying it, then I'll keep going and we'll keep exploring the game. Okay. But as I said, the good news is this certainly is not a game where, oh, it's a huge, highly anticipated game that Phil's going to play and it would suck if the game's not good. No, this is kind of an experiment. And if it's good, great. It's a new game I can add to my rotation of games. From time to time, I can do some Sims and stuff in it. But if it's something that's not very interesting, then no skin off anyone's back. We tried it out, right? Gave it a shot. And, go from there. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it, with a very open mind, very positive attitude. See what it is. If it's good, great. Okay? Now, tonight, on my late night stream, I'm going to be attempting to beat Scarface. Good God. This game seems like it's the game that will never fucking go away, huh? Originally I went back to Scarface last year, after a year away from it, made no progress whatsoever, raged, and basically stopped playing it. Then, during the Rageathon, a week and a half ago, I played it for about 45 minutes, and I actually had major progress, finished a drug distribution mission, to the point where I had enough money to buy the next to last business in the game, and then I was able to progress out. Then I said, you know what, since I was bringing back a lot of games to finish this summer, for example, Persona 3, I was able to bring back and finish in one major session, and that had been unfinished for 2 years. I said, what the hell, let's bring back Scarface, right? So, that being said, tonight, the final session of Scarface, after basically 5+ hours of me going back to the game, the final distribution run. Apparently now I can just grab drugs and drive them around the city. I don't have to do extra missions or anything. And once I raise enough money, buying the final exotics in the game, and then unlocking the final mission, and then hopefully finishing the game. I really want to finish this fucking game. Seriously, I'm tired of it. I'm totally tired of it. I totally don't want to play that game anymore. I want it to be done with so we can move on to bigger and better stuff. And I can say, I finished it, the game sucks, okay, moving on, right? So, hopefully, tonight, we can get this done with. Finally. Okay. Tomorrow, guys, the return of Dark Souls 3. I haven't played it since Sunday. I know some people have been really digging the playthrough. They want to see me go back to it, especially because I'm using two-handed strength weapons, and it's a very different build than what I've been doing recently in Dark Souls, especially the first run. This is a very different experience this time around, right? So yeah, I'll be going back to Dark Souls 3 on Wednesday as the main stream. Wednesday night will be the return of Shenmue, and I will be doing Shenmue in 2-hour increments moving forward at late night streams. From what I'm to understand, Shenmue basically only has about 4 hours left in the game. So if that is the case, then that's good. It means I'll probably finish Shenmue by the end of the week, as I'll explain in just a moment as I keep going through the schedule. Okay. Thursday will be either more Fire Pro Wrestling World, or it'll be Dark Souls 3, dependent on how this goes today. If this is a good stream, people really like the game, they want to see more of it, then I'll play more Fire Pro Wrestling World on Thursday, okay? And then Thursday night, I am going to be doing a second session this week of Street Fighter V. It will be more Akuma. Admittedly, I played with Akuma last night for about 2 hours in Street Fighter V, and even though I barely glossed the surface of what the character is capable of, I didn't enjoy myself, and I was learning. And it's funny, when you initially play a game like that, okay, when you initially play a game like that, and you initially play a new character, you have a good enjoyable, that's the word I was looking for, an enjoyable time, because you're learning. And when you're first learning, it's a very different experience than when you know the game and you're playing at a high level, and now, oh god, here's the abusive shit, right? So right now I'm just learning Akuma, and I actually had fun playing the game last night, despite the fact I didn't really understand a lot of the stuff that was going on, because it was the first time I was using the character. I was having fun. Alright. So I want to give it another shot. Thursday night, another 2 hours with Akuma, see how it goes, and go from there, okay? Then on Friday, probably it's going to be more Dark Souls 3, and probably the conclusion of Shenmue on the late stream. So, what variety we've got this week? We got Fire Pro Wrestling, we've got Dark Souls 3, we got the conclusion of Shenmue, the conclusion of Scarface, and more Street Fighter. A very, very big amount of variety here for you on the streams this week, and I hope you guys are excited for that. Keep in mind, guys, next week, the first week of September, boy, do we have some huge stuff coming up for you guys. Dragon Quest XI, All right, really excited. I've never played a Dragon Quest game before in my 10 years as a content creator on the internet, although I've played them offline on handheld consoles. I have the Game Boy Advance and also the Nintendo DS. I've played many of the Dragon Quest games, and I love them. Now, I've never played a modern one, okay? I've never played a modern one at all. So it'd be very interesting to see how Dragon Quest will translate into the modern era, okay? But of course, the big game coming out next week is Spider-Man. Everyone is anticipating Spider-Man. I haven't played a Spider-Man game since, what was it, Amazing Spider-Man years and years ago. And the Spider-Man games have always kind of been my thing, my forte. I started out, the first game that I ever played on YouTube that really went huge was Spider-Man Web of Shadows. That was the first game that I ever got 1 million views playing. And then later on, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Those were two of my hugest playthroughs ever on YouTube back in the day. Videos that were synonymous with greatness. People loved to watch those playthroughs over and over. And then, of course, YouTube changed their search algorithm and made it so that those videos don't even show up in YouTube search anymore. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I was getting probably every month 10, 20,000 views a month just on those videos alone, because YouTube search would push people towards the biggest gameplay videos of Spider-Man, and mine are the biggest. And then they took it out of search, and they get 0 views now. So, pretty fucking annoying. That's what YouTube has done to me and my stuff over the years, you know. But I'm excited for Spider-Man. I hope you guys are pumped for Spider-Man 2. I'm actually hearing there may even be some cool special stuff for the Spider-Man streams. I'm not going to spoil yet, and I'm not going to promise something that's not going to happen yet. But I've heard some rumblings of some cool things maybe happening during my Spider-Man streams, okay? So I will let you guys know when more information is available. Okay. So that's that for the schedule, guys. Really quickly, I have to address the elephant in the room. Everyone's been talking about it all morning in the stream chat because I was talking about it on Twitter last night. A pretty shitty situation, really shitty situation, where, well, let me preface this. As you guys know, I've had a rough couple of months here, okay? First, my DSPGaming channel got erroneously suspended for spam policies. I got that fixed. Then a month later, my DSPGaming channel got all ads removed for 3 weeks. So I basically made no money on YouTube for almost a month because I got completely screwed over by YouTube fucking with me. And by the way, it should be said, nothing that I did wrong. It was Google made a mistake and took 3 weeks to fix their mistake. And it basically hurt me big time. Because 3 weeks I made no money on YouTube, and YouTube income is still significant income that I need to pay my bills, okay? So, all that happening, the past week or so, I've been telling you guys on stream, I really need your help right now, because coming up in September, all my bills come due within the first week to 2 weeks of the month, and I'm going to have this big payment that I usually get from YouTube that's not going to come through this month. And it's going to take me until the 15th, which is the middle of September, to get paid from Twitch. So we've got 2 weeks where I need bills to clear. And I'm nervous that I'm not going to have enough money because this big payment that usually comes through isn't going to be coming through because YouTube fucked me. Okay? So, all that happening. Some positivity came into this last week. Where... we had an individual who I didn't know who the hell it was, came in and was doing insane amounts of generous cheering. All right. Now, not to say that was going to help in the short term. Anyway, it wasn't, but it was pretty crazy, and it's all people were talking about for like 2-3 days, right? Then all of a sudden, in the past couple of days, I started getting anonymous tips on stream. And they weren't, let me put it this way, they were very generous, but they weren't as insanely ginormous as the cheers was last week. Okay? And there was no indication that the person who had done the crazy cheering last week was the same person doing these anonymous tips. I mean, they were coming in anonymously, there was no way to link the two. But, when you guys see this on stream, you guys get all excited and positive, and so do I. I do shout-outs. I'm like, wow, we got an anonymous $100 tip. That's amazing. Thanks so much. And everyone gets happy, and I update the leaderboard, and it shows, positive contributions, and it puts a positive vibe on the stream, right? Well, last night, PayPal contacted me and said, well, we're investigating. It was something like 8 to 9 transactions from this one person who had done all that anonymous tipping, and apparently used a stolen credit card. Okay, and that's basically what it said. It said it was fraudulent activity. And they were investigating it, and they concluded their investigation last night and said, yeah, it was a stolen credit card, and therefore all those tips were reversed. Over $450 in tips. Now, you know, easy come, easy go, right? Easy come, easy go. It's not. Is it a huge deal? I mean, was it like, oh my god, I had already spent that money? No, of course not. Thank God, because I don't. When I get tips, I purposely don't immediately run out and spend them, because there's always the possibility of a chargeback. It always could happen. But up to this point, anyone who had attempted a chargeback was basically like a kid or a person who was just trolling and trying to say, oh, Phil didn't come through on what he promised with this tip. And PayPal would say, well, then bullshit. You know, Phil keeps the money. That's stupid. You know, you tipped him during a stream. You can't try to pull your money back just because you don't like the guy and you were trolling. You know, Phil keeps the money. This was the first case where this was legit fraud. Like, PayPal is saying this guy committed credit card fraud. And if you guys aren't aware, credit card fraud is a felony in the United States. That is a crime that will ruin your life. You will no longer be able to vote. You will no longer be able to get certain kinds of jobs. It stays on your permanent record for the rest of your life. Like, this is a major crime. And, you know, that's the thing, is a lot of people say, oh, when Phil gets trolled or other people get trolled, it's not that big of a deal. It's just kids doing innocent stuff on the internet. No, there's a big difference. This was an actual crime, okay? This is serious shit that someone committed in order to fuck with me on streams, okay? So that being said, you know, it's a pretty serious deal. You know what I mean? So all that being said, it sucks. It's a shitty situation, and really the reason it's really shitty, two reasons, guys. The first is because I really need the help right now. I know in the next couple of weeks, the first few weeks of September, number one, I have to buy a bunch of games. I have to buy Dragon Quest XI. I have to buy SpiderMan. I'm debating buying SOK Heroines, which is a fighting game from SNK that uses all female characters from their games over the years. I'm a huge fan of King of Fighters in particular, and I would absolutely love to play that game. But now I got to look at stuff like this and say, am I going to even be able to afford it, right? So then the next week, I might have to buy 3 to 4 games. Plus, like I said, guys, I've got all these bills coming due, and I'm not going to get my YouTube income like I usually do. And I have no money saved up or nothing. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do in the short term with this happening. Okay, so when I get these tips coming in, I'm like, wow, this is great. Look at this positive support coming in. This is amazing. It gives me a great feeling of, you know, the dread and the shitty feeling you always have in the back of your head when you have financial worries kind of lifted. And I'm like, wow, I'm feeling great, feeling positive. And then all at once last night, it all comes crumbling down when I find out that basically around $500 that I thought I had earned that was going to go towards bills is now, you know, pulled away. You know what I mean? This fucking sucks. It's a shitty, shitty situation. It really is. And it just really fucking sucks that this happened, okay? And it's just like, I don't even know what else to say. Like, it's just, it sucks. It feels terrible. And you guys know that, you know, I have motivation problems sometimes. I have, you know, depression problems. And last night it all just kind of hit me real hard. I was like, this fucking really fucking sucks. And, you know, it really made me feel terrible. It did. And, you know, I had a pretty shitty night last night. Like, no lie. I was, you know, fucked up in the head for a while, a few hours there till I finally got to sleep. I felt like shit. And, it sucks. I don't know what else to say, okay? So, here's the deal. I'm not gonna let it defeat me. I'm not gonna let it beat me. Someone actually committed a serious fucking crime. You know what I mean? Like, someone actually did a serious crime. Someone, if they were investigated by the FBI, could go to jail and have their life ruined over what? Over a bunch of fake, you know, tips on a stream. It wasn't even like it was trolling. That's the other thing. Like, some people do a cheer or a tip, and they'll troll me with an insulting message. It wasn't even that. It was just someone completely fucking around, you know? And it's like, what the fuck? Seriously, it's just like, what the fuck, man? Why would someone do that? I don't know. So that's the situation right now. Okay, guys. And that's why I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little down, and I need to get cheered up. And what I'm hoping is today's streams will be more positive and fun. We'll be able to bounce back from this. Like I said, I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm not going to let the fact that this guy fucked with me, I'm not going to let it mess with me. I'm not going to let it negatively affect me or bring me down. I'm basically just going to stay positive and keep going, okay? So there you go, guys. All right, so does it suck? Yes, but all we can do is push forward positively. And that being said, guys, I do still need your help. You know, like the whole situation here is that in the next few weeks, I'm going to have major financial problems unless I can find a way to help, you know, and I still need your support. So, there are many ways that you can help me, all right? And I'm going to talk about a few of them. You know, you could buy a shirt from my Teespring store. My 10th anniversary line of product just launched, right? If you cheer, sub, or tip during today's stream, I'm going to give you a verbal shout-out. I ask that if you are going to cheer, sub, or tip, please keep your messages positive, especially today. Of all days, I need it. I need positivity in my life right now. With all kind of the negative stuff going on, I need to feel good. And make this stream a positive, fun place for people to hang out and feel like, oh, we're safe and we're cool, and we're hanging out and we're having a good time, versus, oh, you know, this is a place where now there's drama and all kinds of shit, all right? If you cheer 50 bits or more in a single cheer, or if you click the share button after subbing to the channel, or if you tip me $5 or more in a single tip, you're going to get an on-screen thank you notification that will play as well, all right? I will be doing the Stream Stats leaderboard today at the top of the screen. I'll be updating that. In particular, guys, if you really want to help me out in this, you know, shitty situation that's going on right now, the two ways you can help the most is either to pledge to my Patreon right now, or to tip me, okay? If you pledge to my Patreon at patreon.com/darksidephil, in the next 4 days, you'll get in on this month's perks, which means you'll get things such as being able to nominate and vote on indie games for an indie games marathon coming up. You'll get your questions answered on the next episode of Ask the King. You'll be able to get a private Q&A video made, okay? All those things will be possible if you pledge to my Patreon, depending on how much you pledge. So please give it a look, patreon.com/darksidephil. Or the other thing that you can do if you really want to help is you can tip me, all right? Tipping me, it gives me funds right away. It's stuff I can do straight to the bills, all right? And right now, you know, like I said, the problem here is I felt so good, right, with everything that was going on recently. And then, you know, the shit that happens, you know, it's like, you know, here you go. You really, you know, we really appreciate what you do. Here's your reward. Oh, fuck you. It was a trick. Take it back. It's like, so, yeah, if you guys actually do really want to legitimately tip me, there's two ways you can do it. You can either look below the stream for a button that says tip jar, and if you click on it, it'll take you to the tips page, where you can either leave an anonymous tip, or you can leave your name in a message if you want to shout out during the stream, okay? Or you can type in !tip into the stream chat, all right? And that will bring up a link that if you click on it, it'll take you to my tips page where you can leave a tip as well. That's how you can help me the most. Even though there are many other ways, all right, that you can contribute. This is what's going to help right now. And I love it because here come the trolls coming into the stream chat. Phil made like a ton of money in the last week. No, I didn't. All right. What happened is I got cheers that I don't know if they're going to be legit or they're going to stand. I have no idea. I haven't heard back yet on that issue. All right. They could be completely illegitimate because it could be the same person who did the fraudulent tips. And the bottom line is, even if they are legit, I don't get them for 2 months. My problem is in the next 2 weeks, not 2 months. So I'm not going to put up with this stupid shit today. I'm no fucking mood. If I get idiots coming into the chat, you will be get your asses kicked out right the fuck away, and you're never coming back, all right? Just being real with you, I'm not putting up with that nonsense. I'm just not. Today's a day where I seriously need support. I need it to be a fun, positive day, and not a bunch of fucking stupid shit, all right? I'm not going to put up with it. So I'm just warning you guys, you're all people on notice. If you're here to troll and to be a dick, this is not your day, all right? I wouldn't be looking for leniency today. Let's just put it that way. Okay. All right, guys. So that's it. Thank you so much for your support. It's a shitty situation. It sucks that I even had to talk about it. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's move forward positively. Let's have a positive streaming day. You know, Fire Pro Wrestling World, interesting game, new franchise. And tonight, hopefully finishing Scarface. All right. Let's try to get this turned around. All right. That's kind of my attitude. All right. Now, let us do some positive reinforcement. It's time for me to give shout outs to those who have positively contributed overnight and then also in particular on this stream. Okay, so it's the shout out segment time. First of all, thank you to Infinite. Infinite 55 did a 300-bit cheer overnight. Thank you very much to Infinite for that cheer. I appreciate that. And Wolf Knuckles did a 50-bit cheer. And he says, Shenmue hype. Excuse me. I knew that burp was coming. I felt it. Yeah, Shenmue, listen. Shenmue, in my opinion, the game started off slow. I think the game's pretty quirky and fun. Kind of in a Yakuza way. And I really am digging the game. There's only about 4 hours left in the playthrough. And I am looking forward to the end of it, you know, tomorrow and then Friday night. So, yeah, Shenmue hype for sure. I actually really enjoyed playing the game. I'm glad that I finally, after all these friggin' years, have had a chance to play it. It's been a good experience, okay? All right, now moving on to people who cheered, subbed, and tipped during today's stream in particular. First of all, we get Touch My Stinky, who did a 50-bit cheer and said, "What a delicious Twinkie." What a disgusting thing to say. You are a horrible person. Grazie Dream did a 100-bit cheer. He says, "Have you ever played any of the Broken Swords? I had immense fun with the Shadow of the Templars." No, I've never played a Broken Sword game before. Sad to say. I've heard the name. The name sounds familiar to me. Okay? But I don't think I've ever played a Broken Sword game. So, let me go ahead and get you up on the leaderboard as the top cheerer, Grazie Dream. There we go. Okay. You are now up there. Thank you, Grazie, for the cheer. Android X cheered. He says, "Fuck that guy." Yeah, whoever it is, you know, and that's the thing. A lot of people are associating this guy who trolled with these fake tips with the same person who did all those cheers last week. And there's no evidence to tie the two together. There's been no concrete evidence of anything right now. And I think that some people are jumping the gun. At the same time, it very well might be that person. It could be them. In fact, I'd be very surprised if that person, who's in the stream chat right now, by the way, probably would want to try to let everyone know if they're innocent or not. You would think that they'd be like, "Oh, that wasn't me. That was, you know, I don't know who that is, some asshole." But they haven't even said that. You know? That's the problem, is we have this uncertainty right now. No one knows really what's going on. Who was this asshole who did all this anonymous stuff behind the scene? Who committed the felony, right? And it sucks, you know. It really does. It sucks. And it is what it is, I guess. You know. I don't want to get on. I don't want to get on it again. I shouldn't have gotten on it. Let's move on. Let's change the topic here, okay? All right. Grazie Dream did a 100-bit cheer. He says, "YouTube is not your friend. Time to adapt. Could you do another stream if money is too tight to mention?" I don't know what you mean by that. Like, another stream? No, I just don't have time. You know, that's the thing. You guys don't realize. Or, I don't say you, all of you. Many of you do realize, but, you know, I turn on the stream around, I can start getting ready around 9:30, 10 o'clock. The stream runs till 4. I have, like, 2 hours to eat dinner and spend a little bit of time with my girl. Then I stream again, you know, from, like, 6. I'm setting up. 6:30 the stream starts till 9. Then after that, I'm usually in the office till 9:30, 10. And, you know, and then my girl goes to sleep. And then it's too late. I definitely can't stream then. She's asleep. You know, the only time I could stream extra is if I got up a little bit earlier. So if I'm streaming at like 8, 9 in the morning, I guess I could stream an extra hour or something at the beginning of the day. That's about it. There's no other times that I could stream. You know, she's got to sleep to get to work. So, you know, I'm working literally as much as I can besides maybe an extra hour in the morning. If I were to cut into my sleep time and work a little bit more, I guess I could do that. As it is right now, I get around 6 hours of sleep a night, which is good. But now if you're cutting down my sleep to 4 hours a night, I don't know how that's going to work. No, you know, I'm pretty much pushed to my limit at this point, you know. Okay. Shout out to the Canada Sin, who cheered and said, "Look on the bright side, you may not get to keep those funds. At least the person whose card they still got their money back, the glass half full." No, and I agree. Listen, 100%, I agree. It's a horrible thing. This should not be happening, man. It's seriously, like, it's fucked up. It really is fucked up. That someone would do that to anyone. I wouldn't want my credit card fucking... and by the way, I've had that happen. I should actually bring that up. Years ago, before they started implementing this chip technology in all of the credit cards, when I was traveling a lot, remember when I was traveling a lot to go to Street Fighter tournaments, and conventions and the like, I had my credit card data stolen. And I had people charging, I'm not even kidding, probably $2,000-$3,000. There was one guy who apparently went on a vacation. He was like at some tropical resort, and he was charging like stuff from the bar and hotel fees to my card. To which obviously I contacted my credit card company. I was like, well, as you can see, my other charges on this card are from Connecticut, so obviously that's not me, and they got them all removed. So yeah, that's happened to me too. And basically that's what happened. I guess whoever's credit card this was that these fake tips were done, the guy probably got caught onto it and said, what the fuck is this? And called the company, and the company contacted PayPal, and that's how it got all cleared up, right? So, you know, it's really, really a shitty situation for everyone, okay? For everybody, to the situation, because, you know, the person who's getting, you know, cheated here, right, from their own money, could not realize it and get screwed over. You've got PayPal, who's in the middle of this whole thing. You've got me, the end user, who also thinks that I'm earning stuff that I'm not earning. It's terrible. That's why it's a felony. It's not a joke. It's a fucked up thing, and you could go to jail for a long time for it. It really will ruin your life. So, I seriously hope that whoever does this kind of shit realizes how serious it is. It's not a joke, you know. But that's the thing. Oh, it's anonymous. It's on the internet. It's funny. No, it's not. It's fucked up, man. It's a fucked up situation. All right, so DJ Runo cheered, and he says, let's see here. Wouldn't you say that now that YouTube fucked you, that the income on Twitch increased significantly? What? Wait a minute. Let me try this again. I can't understand this. Wouldn't you say now that YouTube fucked you, the income on Twitch increased significantly? Well, here's the thing. Okay. Twitch income is not bad. I want you guys to understand something. What I'm making here on Twitch has been good. Okay, it has. And it has, this year, my Twitch income absolutely has increased, which is great. You know, my problem is, YouTube keeps fucking me over every moment possible. Some new YouTube thing happening. You know, first my channel gets suspended for no fucking legit reason. Then it gets ads taken away for no fucking legit reason. You know, and now I'm making less than half as much actually, than what I used to make on YouTube, even though the ads are back. And it sucks. You know, I didn't do anything. I literally did nothing at all to have any of that happen. It's not like Phil did a horrendous thing on stream or on YouTube that prompted this negative action. It was just YouTube fucking up constantly as a company. And that's why really I feel YouTube is the past. I can't focus on YouTube anymore. They're the past. I have to focus on the future, which is Twitch. But then we get this shit happening, right? So that's what I mean. Like, yeah, I mean, basically I have to grow my Twitch. I have to. You know, that's what I'm working on. I want my Twitch to grow. I want everything to be better in the future. I want this to be my main hangout, my place. I don't want to have to worry about YouTube shit anymore. And I'll be honest, now doing the longer videos, it's been a major step towards that. Like, remember I used to do, you know, 10-minute videos. It was constant recording, stop recording, recording, stop recording, title this video, name this video, tags, tags, tags. It would take so much work. Now I can usually get the videos uploading pretty quickly, which is a great thing. I don't have to worry about bullshit anymore. So that's, you know, that's great. But now I'm making so little on YouTube that now I'm financially worried again, you know? It fucking sucks. It really does. This whole situation is fucking shit. Alright, so anyway, Rob Warren tipped me $10. Says, heads up, dude, keep her going. Well, thank you, Rob Warren. I appreciate that. You want the top tipper today with a $10 tip? I do appreciate that very much, Rob. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Blackest of Gokus cheered and says, have you ever dated a black woman? A long time ago, yes. The answer is yes. Quite a while ago. There you go. All right. Third out of the third cheered and literally asked the same question as the other person who said, can't you stream more? I already answered. The only way I'd be able to stream more would be if I could stream earlier. He's suggesting I stream Sunday nights. I can't. Sunday night is the night when I do shit that I need time to do. For example, this last Sunday night, here's what I did. I paid all of my bills for the month, which took about 2 to 2.5 hours. I had to go through all these different bills and figure out how to pay each one. And then after that, I had to create the poll for Patron's Choice. I had to go through all of the nominations for the 10th anniversary retrospective event. Like, I spent a good 3.5, 4 hours in my office doing work Sunday night. I didn't just sit around doing nothing. And I need time to do that shit. And the Sunday nights is the nights I do the patron stuff and I do all that stuff. Or else, oh, Phil, do more patron events. Oh, but when am I going to fucking do them? I need some time to do them, okay? So, again, the solution here is not, oh, magically extend the day so you have like 400 hours to keep streaming. It's not reality, okay? It's just not. It's not fucking reality, and people need to wake up. Zerial cheered and said, oh, well, thank you, Zerial, get it? Cheer. And then he said up, so cheer up. Get it? Thank you, Zerial, for that. Your boy Jermaine did a 100-bit cheer. He says, we all enjoy your content, which is why we stick around. You get 300 viewers consistently, which is awesome. Right now, you're pushing 500. Props you for building up to this point. Yeah, it actually, it fluctuates greatly, I've noticed. It depends definitely on the kind of game I'm playing. If I'm playing an RPG, typically the viewers are way lower. If I'm playing an action-based game, such as a first-person shooter, or, Dark Souls, or Street Fighter, typically I get more viewers. It all depends on what I'm playing. And it goes up, down, dependent on that, I guarantee you we will see a big increase in viewership over the next several months as I start to play all the new releases. Typically, that's what happens. The new releases bring in more viewers, so. Oh, boy. Where do you hear this one? Feminist Donkey Sausage did a 125-bit cheer and said, loving how positive the stream is. Have you considered creating special content geared toward female fans? No, because I don't see gender as a qualifying characteristic of content creation. I don't think that gender determines what someone likes or what someone doesn't like. I think that gender is just a thing that we all have, and we shouldn't be judged off of it, nor should we be catered to it. So I put out a certain style of content, and I realize that I do have male and female viewers who like it. Probably way more male viewers than female viewers. And that's just a natural thing that's going to happen, right? Seriously, and I'm not going to say, I'm going to cater towards this or that. It's not my style, okay? It's not. At all. And so I wouldn't do that, okay? All right, YOLO Dopper cheered and said, I didn't know credit card fraud is a felony because it happens all the time on a daily basis. Yeah, and it's a felony on a daily basis. The thing is that people think it's not serious. It is. It's incredibly serious. I'm telling you, people who get in trouble for it, their lives are ruined. It is a commonplace thing, but it's certainly not just because something's commonplace, all right, does not mean that it's not a serious crime. I mean, on a daily basis, people do terrible, terrible things to each other, and just because someone doesn't get caught doesn't mean it's not illegal, all right, and it's not seriously bad. Okay. Derek has cheered. He says, my favorite New Japan Pro wrestler is Kota Ibushi. He was in the Cruiserweight Classic, and I love his Golden Star Powerbomb. I also love Zack Sabre Jr., and I'm looking forward to SNK Heroines because I love Mai Shiranui. There you go. Thank you very much, Derek, for that cheer. Genetic Triple X Brandy did a 90-bit cheer and says, any big-time fan, any chance we could play Castlevania Symphony of the Night? And then, wow, and then stupidly said a detractor meme and thought that I was going to read it, which I'm not going to. Instead, I'm just going to ban you permanently. So, goodbye. Oh, and you're already banned anyway. Never mind. The mods already took care of that. There you go. Okay. DJ Runo did a 125-bit cheer. That now makes DJ Runo the top cheerer for today. So, hold on a second here, DJ. Let me get you up on the leaderboard. There we go. Thank you, DJ Runo. And DJ Runo says, I just finished the main story of Witcher 3. I should slap myself across the face for waiting so long to play it. Excited for the DLCs. Yes. Yes. Witcher 3, a great game. Absolutely. One of the best RPGs I've probably ever played as a content creator. Even though I don't like the combat of the game, the story itself and the tremendous amount of content in the game make up for the fact that I didn't like the combat. So, yeah, if you have not played Witcher 3 and you held off for whatever reason, you really were missing out. And by the way, yes, the DLCs are also exceptionally good, so you should enjoy them. Oh, what's up, iPepsi? Haven't seen you in a while, man. Shout out to iPepsi, who I just saw in the stream chat. Last Rambo did a 50-bit cheer. He says, go all out and make a 24-hour stream. Dude, I couldn't do it. I'm not. It would be one thing if I were 20 years old, I were in peak physical condition like I was when I was 20 years old, and I used to work out and everything. And I was going to sit here, and I was going to have maybe someone here to help me, to, you know, bring me snacks or tag out so I could take breaks or whatever. A 24-hour stream for someone who's 36 years old, right? I'm already overweight, you know? I shouldn't be doing this shit. No. A 24-hour stream would be insanely bad for my health and would do nothing but be a major detriment towards me, okay? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not an idiot, and I don't want to kill myself. I've heard too many horror stories about people who thought, oh, this is a good idea, and then they do it, and then they end up getting fucking blood clots and shit. I'm not doing it, alright? So, the answer is no. Thanos Swaggins tipped me $20. Thank you very much, Swaggins. He says, with the showcase of Cyberpunk and how much intricate detail went into it, do you think it will be the new standard for first-person shooter RPGs? I mean, Bethesda has to be shitting their pants right now, right? I don't know. I didn't see anything about it. I know everyone ran and watched the gameplay yesterday or whatever. I haven't seen it, but everyone seems to be raving about it. I'm not surprised. I mean, it's fucking, it's CD Projekt Red, right? This is a game studio that, with, like I said, with Witcher 3, literally laid the groundwork for, I think, you know, what other people will be doing with RPGs in the future. If you don't have an RPG that's robust enough, that has enough content, that has a world where everything feels significant, then, you know, you're not making a good RPG. In a lot of ways, I think it was a game like Witcher 3 that made a game like Mass Effect Andromeda, right, look like shit. It made it look like complete crap because they're like, man, you know, Witcher 3, every side quest is interesting and fun. It has unique characters with a story. It's voice acted. It's not just, you know, generic repetition quest kind of shit. It's really, really good. A vibrant world that's all interesting to explore. Then you play fucking Mass Effect Andromeda, you're like, wow, it's the most watered-down, boring fucking game full of bugs and terrible animations and shit, right? So that's what I mean. That's an example. Mass Effect Andromeda may have gotten away with it, with what it was as a game in the past, but now, because you had games like Witcher 3 that were just so much better, and you say, well, this is what modern game developers can do, right? Why the fuck can't these game developers do the same thing? Why am I paying the same amount of money for Witcher 3 as I am for all these other games that are far fucking inferior? And I say this year the game that really did it was God of War. This year, God of War is the game that kind of laid the groundwork and said, well, fuck all you. If you can't do what we did, you might as well not even try, because we put out this outstanding fucking game, right? But yeah, CD Projekt Red is a great game dev. They really care about their consumers, unlike a lot of these companies who they're literally just pushing out a product to make a quick buck. CD Projekt Red is completely the opposite, right? So yeah, very nice, and yeah, I am looking forward to it. Absolutely. Okay, King of Hypocrisy Charity says, sorry to hear you got deceived and you're down in the dumps today, Phil. The extent these people see to go to hurt you is surprising. Yeah, what else can I say, right? Beppo Carrot, cheers, says, go Phil, approximately how many hours do you stream per day? Well, roughly I start setting up the stream around 9:30, 10 a.m., and that stream runs till 4. So, that's 6 straight hours right there. Okay, then at night, you know, roughly I start setting up around 6. That stream goes till 9, so that's about 3 hours. But then there's behind the scenes stuff of me uploading the videos, setting stuff up, doing the schedule, you know, all the shit that goes on behind the scenes, probably another couple hours of work. So all in all, in a whole day, all right, probably I put in around 11 hours of work, I would say. Even though it's not the kind of work that other people would say, oh, well, he didn't do hard physical work for 11 hours. You're right. You're absolutely right. But it is still work. But that would probably be, I'd say, anywhere from 8 to 11 hours on average is how much work I'm putting in a normal day. Wolf Knuckles did a 100-bit cheer asking about charity. Wolf Knuckles, it's obvious that you're trying to bait. I'm going to say this. I've said it before and I'll say it again, ladies and gentlemen. Charity is something, in my opinion, this has always been my personal opinion. Charity is something that you do to do something good, not to get recognized for it, not to speak out and get public knowledge of what you're doing. All right? The charity work that I do, I always have done behind the scenes. I've never publicly did anything charity because I don't want it to be about that, and I never would. There's been many opportunities when people were doing things, stunts and stuff publicly, and they were getting tons of attention for it, and they said, oh, you know, this is for charity. I would never participate in that shit, because personally, charity is, you do it for the reason you're doing it, to do something good, not to get recognized and not to get something out of it for yourself, okay? Yes, every once in a while I do something that's charity related, but I do it behind the scenes, and I do it when I can afford it. And it's none of anyone's business. So thanks for the cheer, Wolf Knuckles, but there you go. There's your honest answer. AES cheered and says, Xbox owners are complaining about a Spider-Man downgrade, but they're excited for 2009 backwards compatibility with Modern Warfare 2. The latter is a good game, but you can't have double standards when it comes to visuals. Well, I don't know anything about Spider-Man not performing as well on Xbox. You know, usually when there's a cross-platform game, I always get it on PS4. You guys know that. And moving forward now, I finally have a PS4 Pro. So at least for the intents of my streams and moving forward, what you guys are going to see, it's going to be great quality, right? It does suck for me. I'll be honest. I do think it's terrible that you've got still in 2018 competing companies, competing consoles, right? And, oh, this is the definitive place where you should be playing all games. And then you find out that a game runs worse on that version. Like, Dark Souls 3 ran terribly on Xbox One. That was one of the worst experiences I ever had. A super hyper challenging fucking game where you can die with one wrong move. Yet, I can't even control the fucking game because the frame rate is so low and it's chopping up and it's dropping inputs. It's like unacceptable how bad that game performed. And now, look at the difference here, right? 2 years later, I'm playing the same game on PS4 Pro. The frame rate's great, and a boss like Pontiff, yeah, he's still hard. It took me like 3-4 tries, but I beat him in 3-4 tries. Versus in fucking 2016, it took me like 4 hours to beat the motherfucker because the game ran like fucking shit. You know? It's just not acceptable. If you're paying the same amount of money, you should get the same gameplay experience, period. You know? If they're releasing Spider-Man on Xbox One as well as PS4 and everything, and Spider-Man runs like shit on Xbox One, they shouldn't be charging a full $60. You see what I mean? Okay, we admit the game runs worse on Xbox One. We couldn't optimize it. So we're going to charge you $50 instead of $60. But if you want the optimized experience, you got to play it on PS4 and we'll charge you $60. That would only be fair. But they don't do that shit, right? They fuck you over, right? They absolutely fuck you over. So, Prank Black says, well, it's a PS4 exclusive. Well, then I don't know what this cheer is about. I'm reading what the cheer said. Yeah, Xbox owners are complaining about a Spider-Man downgrade. I don't know what that means. I thought it was that. Now I'm really confused. Well, I didn't know that Spider-Man was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. So, but anyway, the whole discussion of one console being better than the other, I think that, again, if you're going to get the same game on two different consoles, but they run differently, then there should be a price equivalent for that. That's kind of what I believe, okay? All right. Super Blind Man has resubbed for the 21st month in a row. Thank you very much for your support, sir. He's another month closer to 1 million. Keep being awesome. Thank you, Super Blind Man, for the support. And I actually wish you good luck in your own endeavors. I know that you've been trying out some very new stuff recently, and hopefully things go well for you. Eternal Napalm has cheered and says, did you check out the gameplay reveal of Cyberpunk? If not, treat yourself. Looks utterly incredible, possibly next gen. Only a little bit. Like what I saw a few things on Twitter very briefly. I saw, walking through the open city and like a ridiculous amount of computer-controlled characters walking through the city. And it looked very much like Fifth Element almost. And then I saw a scene where it was combat and the guy was running like across a bridge. And there was a little bit of cover, so he stayed behind cover, and then he immediately, slid out of cover and targeted different areas of the guy in front of him. It was, blowing his legs off, and then he shot him in the head. His head exploded. It was kind of interesting, from what I saw, but I didn't see the whole gameplay reveal. I only saw, those clips. That was it, so. Zerial cheers says, do not play Octopath Traveler ever. The game is one of the most boring JRPGs of all time. Wow. Well, that's actually the complete opposite of what I've heard, okay? That's actually what I've heard, is that the game is very much a throwback. It's a combination of classic JRPG design with the gameplay of, what was the game that everyone says that it was a copy of, Bravely Default or something like that, which I never played. I actually bought that years and years ago. for the Nintendo 3DS, and I never played it, so I don't know what the game is in that regard. But I did hear the game is a ginormous grind. Like, if you actually want to see the true ending, you want to see the true stuff in the game, you have to, like, really spend insane, like, 100 hours or some crazy shit in order to get to the end, much like Persona 5 was. Only the difference is in Persona 5, it's mostly story development and the like, while in this game, apparently, it's just grinding. You have to keep leveling your characters to get them high enough to take on the high-level challenges at the end of the game. Listen, maybe eventually I'll get to Octopath. Sadly, it didn't work out this summer. I wanted to play it this summer, but as you guys know, it took a ridiculous amount of time to finish up Persona 5, which thank God I did finish it. And it was an enjoyable experience, but it does suck that I never got to Octopath. What can you do, right? All right, Knows Nobody did 100-bit cheers. Are you going to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider on PS4 Pro? Strongly leaning towards it, even though I didn't like the last one. I am strongly leaning towards it. If you actually take a look at the middle of September, it's a very dead month right now. Like, there's not a hell of a lot going on in the middle of September. Although someone mentioned to me last night, apparently now there is going to be a game coming out. I think they said on the 18th of September. I think it's a survival horror game, the one that has Elijah Wood in it, that we all saw at E3. And I forget what the name of it is, but that could be really fun. But I don't think there's going to be a lot going on around the middle of September, so I may play it. Even though I didn't like the last one, I may still play it just to end the trilogy. I guess we'll see. Okay. I don't know what the hell Dave Bautista is talking about, but it's sexual, it's about women, and I've had enough, and he's banned. I just don't care anymore. You know, I told you I'm not gonna put up with this shit. So, AES cheered. He says, "How do you decide what should be publicly informed to your fans and what should be kept private?" Well, basically, if it's stuff that affects you guys, right? Like, for example, you know, with this whole tipping situation, you guys have been here on the streams. You saw the tips coming in over the last week, and a lot of people, wow, that's great. Phil's got all this support. And I'll be honest here. It hurts me in more than one way. You may say, oh, that didn't hurt Phil at all. Those fake tips didn't hurt Phil because that was money he got and it just got taken away. But, you know, it didn't hurt him because it wasn't like money that he had went and spent or anything. But what you guys don't realize is, for example, on a stream where you see that, wow, Phil just got a $100 tip. That's amazing. Good for him. You know, but I think that today I'm not going to be supportive of him in any way, because already there's someone who's already overtaken. You know, maybe someone was going to give a small tip, and now they feel they're going to be completely overshadowed because this guy gave a giant tip that day, right? And so they don't do it, right? They withhold it. Or, oh, Phil's doing great. He doesn't need my support. I'm going to go give my support to another streamer of mine who, or a streamer who I watched today, right? That's what happens. And so there's legitimate people who like my content who are here to watch and support, and maybe they didn't support because they saw all this other fake shit coming in, right? And they say, well, Phil doesn't need it. And that's terrible, you know, that because now it gets returned, right? And now, you know, I got fucked, basically, you know. It really sucks. See, it just, it sucks, man. It's terrible. It's shitty. It's bullshit. And, you know, it hurts. It hurts me in more than one way. It does. So, you know, all right. I got to stop dwelling on this. Seriously. Every time I think about it, it pisses me off and it makes me feel like shit. So I'm going to stop talking about it. Knows Nobody did 100-bit cheer. He says, with PS4 in your disposal, do you plan to get an Xbox One X in the future? I mean, I have no plans. First of all, I can't afford it. I mean, I didn't buy the PS4 Pro. I didn't buy the TV. I can't afford anything right now. At all. And, you know, I can't afford an Xbox One X. I certainly don't know what game I would play on an Xbox One X. Like, what Xbox exclusive game do I need an Xbox One X for? That's why I think last year, the whole ad campaign Microsoft ran to saying, oh, you know, Xbox One X is the best console. Has the best hardware out there. Okay, but what do I play on it? You know what I mean? Like, God of War was like the one major console exclusive so far this year that really blew us all out of the water, and it was a PlayStation exclusive, you know? So, to me, it's like everyone ran out and, oh, it's the best console ever, we buy into the marketing, so we're going to go buy it, and they did, you know? They sold the Xbox One X in droves last holiday season, and then within a month, everyone said, what the fuck do I play on this thing? Because it's basically all the games you could already play on PS4 and no good exclusives, right? oh boy, are you really enjoying Sea of fucking Thieves right now? You know what I mean? Like, that's been it. State of Decay 2, what another dud, right? So for me, I really don't see what benefit would I get out of having an Xbox One X. I don't see a single benefit, you know? For backwards compatible shit, I could use my regular Xbox One. The exclusives are terrible, and I have a Pro, PS4 Pro. So I think I've literally made the Xbox One X obsolete. Like, what's the point, right? Okay then. Android cheered. He says, I was watching a pre-stream I missed earlier. You talked about the tractors and their cheers. I don't want it to overtake chat. Why not do like a Phil versus detractor stream and set the cheer limit at 500 bits and do back and forth with them? Because I don't want to entertain them, dude. The whole point here is that I don't want my streams to be 100% overcome with nonsense. I don't want this to be, oh, this is the drama stream where every day Phil has to talk about negative shit, and I don't. That's the good news, is I don't. You know, a lot of the times it's just nothing going on in that regard, and I could just have a fun gameplay stream and not have to worry about this kind of shit. Today's kind of the exception to the rule because of some stuff that's been happening, right? But yeah, like, if I give them attention, it just prompts them to do more fucked up shit. Oh my god, Phil gave us a whole stream's worth of fucking attention. I gotta keep this up so we get more attention. You know, the best course of action is to just try to ignore them and you know, carry on when you can. You know, today was a situation where I couldn't. I had to explain what was going on. Because people had been negatively affected by it. I'm negatively affected by this. You know, I don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks with bills and everything because, you know, it looked like I was getting so much support and then it doesn't exist. So, but yeah, no way. That literally, Android, that would have the opposite effect of what you think. It wouldn't help at all. It would just make things worse. Trust me. Thanos Swaggins tipped me another $5. It says they're complaining about SpiderMan because they can't have the game. Simple as that. There's no point in this day and age to get an Xbox when a PC surpasses it and PS4 has all the exclusives. All right. Well, that's a definitive statement. Thank you for the tip. Last Rambo cheer. He says, what do you think of Patron's Choice voted games? I hope Metroid Prime 2 wins so you can be ready when Prime 4 comes out. Yeah, what a mix. Did you guys check out my Twitter the other night? What a mix of games that has been nominated for Patron's Choice. Leisure Suit Larry, Max Payne 1, Phoenix Wright, Octopath Traveler, Metroid Prime 2, among others. I mean, it's 9 games. They're all, like, completely different. I don't think I've ever seen a Patron's Choice with this much variety in it. And by the way, I should be noted that the poll is open. If you are a patron, currently a $5 patron of mine, that poll is able to be voted on right now on my forums on thekingofhate.com, and you should vote. Reason being, right now the poll is only, the game that's in the lead is only ahead by 1 vote. I'm not even kidding, a single vote. And so if a handful of people go in there and start voting, the whole thing could be flipped on its head. But right now, from what I'm to understand, it's neck and neck between Phoenix Wright and Max Payne. Those are the 2 games that apparently are going back and forth, So there you go. What do I think about the games? I think it's great. I like variety, right? I absolutely love variety. I love options. I love that people will now be able to vote. You know, I want to see a narrative-based game. Do I want to see an action-based game? Do I want to see an RPG? Do I want to see a classic, or do I want to see a modern game? Or do I want to see this, right? There's so much there, so many options, so much variety, that it's honestly, for me, if I were voting on the poll, it would be tough to pick. I would have a hard time voting. So all right, patrons, it's up to you guys. You got about 2 weeks, by the way. That poll will probably be running until early to mid-September, and then I'll close the poll, and then Patron's Choice will be fit into the schedule at some point, okay? So let's see what wins. All right, Pseudonymous Gamer did a 100-bit cheer and said, Phil, I was watching your old playthroughs. I gotta say, I definitely noticed some differences. You're better now. Reason being because you put up with more shit than you did back then. I couldn't imagine the struggle you go through. I'm so happy. I've been a fan of yours. You're my hero. No matter how much shitty people try to bring you down, you make it through. And thank you for everything you do. Well, thank you, Synonymous Gamer. You know, back then, when I was starting off, did I get trolled? Absolutely. But I was way immune to it. Like, I was so big on YouTube that the trollish shit didn't matter. Like, people laughed at the trolls as basically a fringe group of nut jobs. That's how the attitude was. Then, sadly, somehow the trolls became a mainstream group, and thousands of people joined in the laughing at me, which is fucked up, right? You know, this is how you don't play and all of that. And it kind of flipped the whole thing on its head. And back then, I'll be honest, you know, I did not react positively or in any good way towards the trolling. You know, I would lose it. I would lose my shit. I would flip out. I would swear. I would rant. I would rave. You know, I'd go nuts. And now it's kind of like, you know, now, years later, so many years of systematic abuse towards me that I just kind of shrug it and, you know, this sucks, you know. Last night, did I feel like shit? Absolutely I did. And I had a really shitty night. But now today I got to come back strong positively and not let this affect, you know, the stuff moving forward in the future. So. Last Rambo Charity says, even though Xbox lacks exclusive, multi-platform games perform better on the X. Oh, yeah? Really? And what evidence do you have of that? Because that's the thing. Like, on paper, right? The Xbox One X is the best console. But why is it that we haven't heard that these games, these cross-platform games, are running groundbreakingly great on the Xbox One X? I haven't heard anything to that degree. It's kind of exactly what I said when the Xbox One X was announced and started being marketed. I said, what game developer is going to fucking make their game catered towards this console? I mean, you already have the original Xbox, then you have the Xbox One S, now you have the Xbox One X. Like, first of all, you already have 3 different consoles, right? Just for Microsoft. Oh, by the way, you also need to make your game work on the PS4. Who the fuck is going to put extra time into making the game run better on this one version of a console, which, by the way, you know that the Xbox One X has way less units sold than the PlayStation 4 Pro, because the PS4 has a much big customer base, a much wider customer base, because of the exclusives, right? So, yeah, maybe Xbox One X has the best hardware. That is true. Absolutely true. But at the same time, you know, where is the evidence that this console runs those third-party games better? I haven't seen any of it, you know? So, I just gotta kind of shrug. And the other thing, you know, someone just made a good point. Apollo Rap says Japanese companies prefer the PS4 over the Xbox. You're right. Any Japanese game developer is going to make their game run better on PS4. They don't give a flaming shit about Xbox. Xbox has almost no market share in Japan. No one plays that shit. So, there you go. All right. That douche kid cheered. He says, I used to be an Xbox fanboy with the original Xbox and 360. The 360 was as good as the PS3, but then Sony really clobbered the market with the PS4, the best console by far. I agree. You know, and me, people used to call me, when I first started on YouTube, they'd call me an Xbox fanboy. Phil, you play everything on Xbox 360. It's unfair. You know, when you play multiplayer games, you only play them on the Xbox 360. You're obviously a huge fanboy of that company. And then, next console gen comes out, I buy the PS4 and I play most games on PS4. Phil's a Sony fanboy. It's unfair. He doesn't play any games on Xbox. It's obvious that he's just sucking Sony's balls. He loves Sony. It's like, dude, what a flip-flop. You know? What a flip-flop of people who are trying to criticize me and say I'm one or the other. No, all I did is I went with what I felt was best. The Xbox 360 had an incredibly good controller, had an incredibly good user interface, achievements right from the get-go, you know, functioning messaging, easy parties, like everything that you wanted with a console of that generation was available from launch pretty much on the Xbox 360. The PS3 basically had to play a keep-up. Oh, we have to make a lobby and party system that works. We have to make voice chat sound better because it sounds like shit because all of our microphones are Bluetooth, you know. Oh, shit, we don't have achievements. Let's add trophies, right? Like, they had to play catch-up big time. And by the way, a lot of games ran like shit on the PS3, especially for the first few years of its release because the PS3 had a really weird architecture that was hard to develop games for. You know, it was completely the opposite this console generation. It's like Microsoft lost their shit and completely forgot everything that made the 360 good and just redesigned a console that was a piece of crap at launch and then later on added the features in that people wanted. It didn't even have optical audio out surround sound at launch. What? That's a standard for audio visuals? Like, for the past, 15 fucking years, optical audio surround sound out? It didn't even have it at launch. Like, what the fuck? How stupid can you be? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what Microsoft was thinking with the Xbox One at launch. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I do feel PS4 is at the head of the pack this console gen. Teleported Stakes did a 150-bit cheer and says, will you ever play The Surge? Probably not. The Surge is made from the same company that made Lords of the Fallen. That game was a huge rip-off piece of shit. And I don't want to give them another dollar of my money, basically, because I feel that they never really delivered on Lords of the Fall, and then they come out with another game, and we all just forgive them for some reason. I don't get it. So that's why I'm not playing the Surge. AES Cheered says, I started Resident Evil Remake last night. I don't want hand-holding in a game, but they should have a sense of what am I supposed to do. It's definitely a game for a certain group of people. Right. You're absolutely right. If you've never played Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil game, it's very confusing. Like, you'll walk around rooms wondering if there's an item in this room you're supposed to find. You'll get lost in the mansion wondering, is there a puzzle in here? Is there not? You just have no guidance on what to do. There's no, there's nothing to tell you at any particular time where you're supposed to go or what you're supposed to be doing in that game. For those of us who've played it before, the game's way easier because you already know the puzzles. You already know the solutions, right? But for someone who's playing it for the first time, especially with the fact that the game has incredibly limited ammo, it could be a very frustrating experience. I agree. I totally agree with you there, AES. That's exactly the explanation. The explanation. Excuse me. That's exactly the experience that I had when I first played Resident Evil in the 1990s. I had a love-hate relationship with the game. I loved it because it scared the shit out of me. There were jump scares, creepy zombies, the item management, and the fact there was so little ammo and stuff actually made the game scary. But not knowing what the fuck I was supposed to be doing frustrated the living shit out of me the first time I played it. AES cheered again. He says Battlefield 1 versus Titanfall 2. For me, I think, excuse me, I think Battlefield 1 is more of my style of game. Like, Titanfall 2 was a good game, and I did think that it had improved a lot on the first game. But, run and gun, double jump, wall jump, grapple hook, jump in a mech, blow shit up, jump down. It's It wasn't great. It was okay, but exactly as I expected, the game did not do well, sales-wise, like they had wanted it to. And it's because it's a game that just doesn't really have an identity in the modern era. You've got first-person shooters that have an identity, and Titanfall just really doesn't have a unique one. It sucks, too, because Titanfall 2 had a really great campaign, in my opinion. I loved the campaign of the game, but it just got completely overshadowed. Tails has cheered and says, "Sup, Phil, I'm looking forward to you playing Fire Pro. Have you ever played Paper Mario Thousand Year Door? A game worth thinking about if you have downtime." Incidentally, I did have Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and played it a little bit, at one point, but I never got too far in it. I'm actually trying to remember at what time period I even fucking played it. I don't think it was a new release at the time. I think I had played it after it was a new release for a while, but I did play it for a bit, and I remember liking it. It was a quirky game that was very unique compared to other Mario games, although it had, like, platforming gameplay. It was a lot of puzzle stuff, too. And I did actually like it, okay? But, would I ever go back to it? Maybe. Maybe. If that's what people wanted to see. If you ever wanted to see me play it, you know what I mean? I would consider playing it. But, that would be something that people would basically have to, nominate, vote for in a special event, or let it be known, oh, this is a retro playthrough we want to see Phil play, and I haven't seen that yet, so. Alright, DJ Runo cheered and says, since YouTube can go to hell, would you make another attempt to play Dante's Inferno? Maybe you remember that game all the way back. I'd love to see you play it, making a fuck YouTube stream. Well, for those who don't know, Dante's Inferno is a game that's very similar to the original God of War trilogy, okay? Oh my god, excuse me. Okay, it played much like the original God of War. However, Dante's Inferno is a game that has nudity and is set in hell, and basically each area of hell is one of the 7 deadly sins, and one of the earlier stages is lust. So I'm not even kidding you, there's like giant dicks and tits in the game. And I was playing it for YouTube before I ever made money on YouTube. This was the Dark Side Phil channel, okay? I was playing the game on YouTube, and I got community guideline strikes against me because the videos had, tits and dicks in it. And they said, that's not allowed. And they gave me community strikes against Dark Side Phil. So at that time, I had to stop playing it there, and I started uploading it to other websites like Vimeo and shit. and that didn't work either. So basically, after a while, I said, I'm just not going to play this game, and I did. And I stopped playing it and stopped recording it, and that was the end of that playthrough. So I guess what DJ Bruno was saying is, what I ever say, fuck all that shit, and just play the game anyway, on stream, on Twitch. I don't know. I honestly don't know if Twitch would allow it. Like I said, it definitely has nudity in it. And I don't know if Twitch would allow that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know enough about the game, and I don't know enough about like what Twitch would or wouldn't allow in the modern era, quite frankly. So I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. Damn, we got a lot of cheers today. Thank you guys. Shout out to that douche kid. He had another 50-bit cheer, and he said, here's another 50 bits for nailing that console comparison breakdown. Thank you. The Paradox cheered. He says, playing Yakuza franchise for the first time, finding it amazing. Shame that this franchise doesn't get a lot of attention. You know, here it doesn't. In the West or the English-speaking territories, Yakuza really doesn't get a lot of attention. And it's funny because when I play the games even, I don't get a lot of attention. But typically what's happened is when I play these games, over time on YouTube, they accumulate views because people realize I'm one of the few people, English-speaking people, who play the game, you know, and do a full playthrough of them. I love Yakuza. I really do. I just think that sadly there's been too many. Just think about this. In the past 2 years, there's been Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, Yakuza 6, Yakuza Kiwami 2. Within 2 years. That's too much Yakuza. You know, in a short period of time. There should have been way more space between those fucking releases, in my opinion. And I think that it's starting to kill itself, you know. You gotta slow down there. You can't have that much Yakuza in a short period of time. But that being said, I do love the franchise. So, I hear ya. Alright, well, here we go. DS Philosophy tipped me $1 and poses an interesting question. Let's read the question and address it. It says, having the surge as an analogy, if you had failed your first university exam, but then really improved upon the second exam, would you as a teacher acknowledge the improvement and learn to give it a chance? Well, that is an interesting analogy. And if that were the case, I would say, yes. However, that's not the situation. This is not a student university situation. This is a consumer purchase situation. If you're a consumer and you purchased a game from a certain game developer for a full price tag, I should mention, it was a $60 game, Lords of the Fallen, and the game is a broken, buggy, horrendous piece of fucking shit, and to the point where I played it for like 8 hours and I couldn't even continue because I was chasing enemies down hallways. They would disappear, reappear in front of me with full health and insta-kill me. That's where I draw the line. Like, that game was one of the worst games I've ever played in my history as a 10-year content creator. Alright? I paid $60. I didn't get any fucking refund for that piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get my money back for the broken game. Now this game company comes back 2 years later and makes another game called The Surge, and people are asking me to give it a chance. I'm like, no, yeah, I learned my lesson. There's a saying. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I've already been fooled once by this game company telling me they made a quality game, give us $60 for it. I did, and I got completely ripped off. 2 years later, am I going to do this, make the same mistake? Or is it in my discretion and my judgment to say, oh, well, in this case, I've already gotten screwed by these guys once. I'm not going to do it again. This is the same comparison. If I go and buy a car, and a car is a lemon, everything in the car falls apart, right? And this car ends up costing me a ton of money to drive because I have to keep fixing everything constantly. And then in 7 years, I decide to buy another car. Do I buy a car from the same company, or do I learn my lesson? Oh, well, I just need to give them another chance. Let me buy another car from the same company that gave me the lemon, right? No, you know. And I'm sorry, but what they say a lot of times is first impressions are everything. And my first impression with that company as a game developer was a terrible one. And I really just don't want to support them. I don't, you know. And the bottom line is a lot of other people have contacted me about The Surge, okay? And basically said, Phil, don't play it. Like, it's getting a lot of hype because it's a game that a lot of people are streaming right now, but it's not a good game. It's a game that in the long run you're not going to want to play and finish, so don't even bother. And I said, you know what? Fair enough. I'm not going to waste my time on it then. I didn't. And I didn't get, it's not like I missed out. It's not like anyone said, oh, the Surge is the best game of the year. Nothing like that. It was just kind of a meh game, apparently, that is literally skippable and you miss nothing, right? So, that's my opinion, is that I'm not going to be a person who gets fooled repeatedly by the same company, putting out subpar products, Again, I'm not going to be the sucker who just keeps running back to that company just because they have a new hyped game that everyone's streaming at the time. I'm just not going to do it. So, and that's my discretion and my judgment. You may be something completely different, right? You may be of a different opinion. Maybe you played the Surge and you liked it. Fair enough. Good for you. But for me, it's not something that I'm interested in because I got burnt by the company once, okay? Okay. Teleported Stakes just did another 450-bit cheer and says the Surge is worth a shot if you have the time. I enjoyed it. It makes some interesting additions to the Soulsborne genre and also runs at a solid 60 frames per second on the Pro. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you had a good experience with it. Like I said, I'm not against people enjoying games. If it's your cup of tea and you liked it, great. But for me, I'm seriously just not gonna give these guys another chance after they screwed me over so bad with the first game, But good for you, and good to hear that you liked it. Thank you for the cheer, by the way. You are the cheerleader. Teleported Stakes cheerleader today. YOLO Dopper cheered. He says, what you don't realize is that people enjoy seeing you play subpar games like The Surge and Scarface. That's great, but at some point you got to draw the line, Like, for example, okay, it's summer downtime. There's absolutely nothing going on, right? And I need to kill some time because a game like We Happy Few tanked. Doesn't run well. It's a piece of shit. Okay, I'll go back to Persona 3. I'll go back to Scarface. I'll finish these up. Versus, it's the middle of a busy gaming season. Let me play this one game from a company that already burned me 2 years ago and waste time playing it when I could be playing other better games. See what I mean? Big difference there. And even though yes, I understand there are people who like to see me play shitty games and suffer. At the same time, I can't do it all the time for my own sanity. I need to enjoy what I'm doing. Seriously, I need to enjoy what I'm doing. If I don't, then this isn't going to be a thing I want to do anymore, And in general, I do enjoy what I do for a living, Very much so. I can't just constantly be playing shit games all the time. Okay, so anyway, guys, thanks very much, everyone, for your support. Thanks to everyone who just cheered, subbed, and tipped on the pre-stream. I do appreciate it. I think the sub count is probably around the same or went down. It's the same, 536, so we'll leave it at that. Shout out to Teleported Stakes with the top cheer today, 450 bits. Shout out to Swaggins for the top tip of $20. I appreciate that. Reminder, guys, the best way you can support me today is either pledging to my Patreon at patreon.com/darksidephil or tipping me. After this whole shitty situation of me basically, fraud committed in order to make it look like I was making a ton of money over the past couple of days that was not legit at all. Your support would be appreciated because I do still need it in a major way. Like I said, early September, I'm going to have a bunch of bills due, and I usually would get a payment around the 10th of the month from YouTube, and I'm not getting it this month because they took away my ad revenue for 3 weeks, and I'm incredibly nervous that I'm going to get screwed over here and not be able to pay bills. I am getting a giant payment from Twitch on around the 15th or 16th, but I need to make it to that. So any support, either pledging to my Patreon or tipping me, is greatly appreciated right now. It'll get me to that time, and then we'll be good for the hardcore gaming season, full swing ahead, okay? All right, guys. That is it. Let's end the pre-stream, which is incredibly long today. Not surprising because we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to use the restroom quickly because I have to, and then we're going to jump into Fire Pro Wrestling World and see what this game is all about, okay? All right, guys, thank you. I'll be right back. Thanks for your support. See you in a few.